Hello everyone. Thanks for joining the session. Let me share my screen. Yes, please let me know once you see the screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's start with the session. Let me introduce myself within a minute. So I've been working on SharePoint product for last 11 years, and last 3-4 years I've been working on Power Platform. Currently working as technical specialist in Trident Technology in India. I have been uploading technical videos on YouTube also, mostly related to Power Platform, and I do write some articles. So am MEP holder of C# Corner. Uh, if you can anytime reach me for any queries, this is my email address and LinkedIn profile URL. Okay, so let's start with the session's agenda. We are going to cover up 3 points today in this session. First of all, it will be how to navigate through n level of folders of the SharePoint document library in PowerApps. Second will be how to upload a document to a SharePoint library from PowerApps, and how to view the versions of the document in the PowerApps. So these 3 points will be covering up. Mostly it is PowerApps UI interface and the flows which will be connected to the PowerApps. Well, first of all, we'll see what's the need of using Power Apps for the SharePoint document library. Why can't we just keep using the SharePoint interface instead of going with the Power Apps? Why to build the interface in the Power Apps? Well, many of us already know in most of the organization, end user expects one interface to upload a document as well as to set the metadata. In the SharePoint, if you guys know, you need to upload a document first and then go to the properties, edit properties and set the metadata. This is really a common issue when business user ask for. The second will be there might be many scenarios wherein user wants to upload multiple documents with the same metadata. So they need to do it multiple times, upload each and every document, go to properties, set the same metadata again and again. So that is like a lot of clicks needs to be done. And third will be, let's say if you have like a lot of metadata to be linked to your document, like let's say 20 to 30 columns or fields you need to set. So and you need some instruction to be shown on the UI. You need some groupings, headings, sections to be built. You need a nice UI. If you see, as you can see on the screen here, the screenshots I have added here, there are a lot of metadata needs to be attached to the particular document. So in all these scenarios, the Power Apps will help, wherein we can create the UI as we need. We can add the validation rules saying when you upload a document, you have to set all these metadata. Without that, you won't be able to click submit. So all these the requirements I've been getting from my clients. So I thought it is always the Power Apps is a better option to build such kind of requirement. Anytime if you have any question, just raise a hand, or I think we can take the questions at the end of the sessions. Okay, let's see a quick demo of what we're going to build. Let me just open the app. Okay, so this is landing screen of my app, wherein you will see the folders as well as the documents. So if I show you the exact library which I have used uh, to connect to this Power Apps is this. This is my SharePoint site, and you see this document library wherein you have all these folders and the documents here. So if I go back to the app, I can navigate through these folders. Let's say if I click on this, I can go to the any level of folders wherever I want. I can navigate to it and I can see the documents. I can open the document from here. I can see the metadata of the document. So I think someone's mic is on unmute. Okay. Well, you can see all the documents for each of the folder. Let me just navigate back now. Yeah, so this is our root folder, and you can also see the versions of the document. So let me show you one of it. So if I click on this, you will be able to see the versions of the document. Let me show you the better example here. Okay, you can see this one dot second version, third version, at what time it was updated. You can see the metadata, or you can directly open the specific version of the document. So we'll see all this in detail. Let me just, and if you want to upload a specific document to a selected folder, now let's say we are in L2 F1 folder. So now if you want to upload a file to this particular folder, you can just click on plus and yes, I want to upload here. So on the top you can see we are uploading a file to this particular folder. So you just need to click on upload file, attach file, and click on upload. So the file will get uploaded to this specific folder. Okay, so let me just switch to the Power App Studio, and we will see all these features, three features in detail. This is the app which I just showed you, and we are in Power App Studio now. So we'll start with the first point of the session, which is navigate through the N-level folders in Power Apps. Well, what we need first of all is a gallery control with the dynamic data source. We will be connecting directly to the SharePoint document library. Second is we need to preserve the navigation back and forth. When we click on next button, we need to store what was the previous folder. And when we go click on back button, we need to set some variable values and use that particular folder path to the data source so that we get all the folders and files within the selected folder. There are some limitations currently, of course, with the folder path is the column which we'll be using for the filtering. It is not delegable. When I say delegable, is there are some functions, there are some columns in Power Apps which are delegable and non-delegable. So we will not be covering all that in detail, but it's related to how much data you can fetch from your data source into Power Apps, or you can fetch the data on demand or not. So that is something about delegation. So ideally, it is recommended to use delegable functions and delegable operators and the columns which are supported. Depending on your data source, different types of columns are supported in this delegation. So we'll cover up this part also. There is a delegation limitation, so how we can overcome this. Let me just switch to the studio again. Well, first, let me just start quickly here. On the app start event, we just need to set one variable, so which is the current selected folder. So this will be your library name, whatever library name you have. So in my case, it is documents, but on top you can see this is a shared document. So you just need a URL of your library. So I have set it to this particular value, this variable. Forget about this, we'll come to this part. This is not used currently in this app. Next is, of course, just to add, we will be seeing existing interface which I have already built here. I'll be just demonstrating how I have built it. And for some of the features, we will be building it live here. Okay, so next is we have added a gallery here. As you can see, gallery and some of the, this is an image inside a gallery, this is a label, this is another label, and this is arrow. So we have 4-5 controls here inside the gallery. For this gallery, Now let's see what we have set on the items properties. So if you can see, this is really straightforward. We are using, this is my documents library, which is a data source. If I show you here, if I go to view and data source, you can see this is a document library which I have added as a data source from this particular site. So for the gallery, we have in the items property, we have set it, we have used simple filter function, and documents is our data source, and we have just used folder path column, which is again a system column available to filter the items and folders, which is we are checking to the current selected folder. Now if you see, we have set the current selected folder to shared documents, which is a root level folder in the library. That's why you see here all the root level folders and root level files. Now there are 2-3 places where you need to set some of the variables in order to navigate through the folders. Now if I click on this, you can see that we are able to see the files inside a test folder. If I click on back, we are again back to the root folder. So if I keep clicking on this, we are going inside the folders. You can see this, I have even created a navigation pan here, wherein you can see at what level you are currently. So if I navigate back and just to show what logic we have written on this arrow selection. So again, this is straightforward what we are doing. As you know, in the current selected folder, we have stored a shared document, which is a root folder. We will be storing this into a temporary variable, this value, because we need it when we are doing backtracking. We are storing this in a temporary folder, and the current selected folder, we are storing it to the folder which you have selected. So this will be the folder path. So this dot item will give you the record which you have selected in the gallery. We are using this item dot the folder path. This will give you the path of the current item. So if I just select this particular entity, and we are appending just appending with the name of the folder. So let me just show you how it works. If I select this, so this folder path will give you till the current folder. This item dot name will give you the current folder name, and we are appending backslash here, which will create a path for the next folder. So if I just select this and just go back and select another folder. Now if you see here, the value of the current selected folder is shared document slash L1 hyphen folder 1. So we are into L1 hyphen folder 1 currently. So that's how we are storing or we are generating the path of the next folder. So this is the just using the folder path and dot name properties and just concatenating this string to generate the path of the next folder. Now this is for the while going inside the folders. Now we need to see what logic or what variables we need to set when we are backtracking. So if I go here, let's say in this particular folder, and if I select this button where we have written the logic, back button, back icon. So again, in this case, what we need is, okay, so logically speaking, what we need, currently we are inside shared documents L1 folder. When you need to backtrack, what we need is just shared documents. So what we need to do is we need to get rid of this part from the path. We need to remove L1 folder 1 and the backslash. So you need to actually get rid of the current folder path. So that's what we are doing here. If you see, we have used, let me just format this so you can see it better. We have used a substitute function to remove the current folder path with just empty string. And if you see, Inside the current selected folder, we have shared document L1 folder 1. We are splitting this with the backslash. That's what we have, the delimiter, you can say. So you will get each and every folder name. We need last one because that's what we need to get rid of, the last folder. So we have used last n function here and then first n function so that you can get that particular value. So if I just select this specific code here, so you can see the output of this is, which is L1 folder 1, first n, first, last n split. We are splitting whole folder path and getting the value of the last folder where we are currently. Now we don't need this folder path in our path because we need to backtrack. So we will be replacing this particular string with the empty string. That's why we have used a substitute function here. And if I select this specific code or expression, now you see the output of it is shared documents. That's what is our previous folder, or you can say the one folder up. Now we'll set this to a specific variable and again set it back to our current selected folder, because this current selected folder is used in the data source of the gallery. So if I click on this, if I click on this, now the value of our current selected folder variable is changed. That's why you can see that output of the gallery is also changed. So this is all dynamic. It's not that we have retrieved the data locally in the Power Apps and we are doing all filtering locally. No, we are directly getting it from the SharePoint library. You can see here the data source of it is filter and document. Now what you see here is a delegation warning. What it says is it will not work for a large data set. What it means by large data set is if you have more than 2000 items in your library or files, it won't work properly. That's what the delegation limitation I was talking about. Now how we can handle it? Because of course you will definitely have more than 2000 files and folders in your library. How should we handle it? So there are two ways. First is, so let me just come here again in the presentation. The first is we will pull all the data in the Power Apps locally in the batch of 200, because that's the limit what you can pull, and we can combine it into one large data set. So everything from the document library, we have all the metadata of all the files and folders into locally available into Power Apps. So let's say you can combine, but this is not recommended because you can't, again, this will degrade the performance of the Power Apps. You won't be able to get all the items. If there are millions of items in your document library, this won't work. But this is still an option. If you have hardly 2000 or 4000 or 5000 or 10,000 items of documents in your library, you can still use this. And the second and recommended option is what we can do is we can maintain the folder path in our own column. Okay, because if you see here, the folder path column, which is a system column again, is not supported in the delegation. So what we can do, because anyways we are using our own way from the Power Apps, we are going to upload the file. So we can set the value to our own column, which is we will maintain to store the folder path. So we can have our, let's say, single line of text column. We will generate the folder path and we will store it, which will be attached to the file. In that case, we will not get delegation warning because single line of text column, of course, it is delegable. You can use it. Now, when I was talking about you can merge the data, more than 2000 items, you can merge it into local collection, and then you can use this particular collection. So that's why I have just added these few lines here. Of course, I'm not using it currently. So what you can do is, for example, this is our delegable code. So what you can do is filter your documents library on, let's say, created column. Let's say get all the documents which were created before specific date. Okay, so let's say those are 2000. So you will get 2000 items. You can store it in a collection. Let's say get all the another all the files and documents which are created after that particular date. So you will get another 2000 items. So that way you can get the collection of 2000 items, and you can store it into a local collection, another collection. You can merge it into one collection. So if you can see here, I've used again, let me just format this. So I've used here I've created another collection here to merge all these two data sources into one collection. Now you can use this collection for your gallery, and then you can filter it. You can use it to backtrack and navigate through the folders. But again, this is limited because you can't get all the documents and files in here. It is always recommended to use delegable functions and properties and operators so that this feature or this implementation, what we are doing, will still work for, doesn't matter how many documents or folders are there in your library. So the only correct option I can see here is we have to create our own text column in the library where we can store the folder path, and we will not use the system folder path column because it's not supported for the delegation. Well, I think that's more about the first part of the session, which is how you can build the UI in the Power Apps to see all the folders and files, and you can navigate through the folders and see all the files and backtrack again. Okay, so does anyone have any question related to this particular area of the session? If not, we can move to the next part of the session. Yeah, I mean, anytime if you have any questions, we will still cover it up at the end of the session. Okay, so let's move to the next agenda of the session, which is how to upload a document to the selected folder or to the library, let's say, from the Power Apps. Well, now what are the out-of-box features available in the Power Apps? So currently there is no feature available wherein you can directly upload a file from Power Apps to the document library. What is available is you can attach a file you can to the SharePoint list item. So when you create a list item, you can add attachments to that particular item. There is a add image control available, using which you can upload an image. You can provide a control to the user wherein they can upload image, or they can directly take a live from their camera, a device camera. But there are some limitations with these controls. Still, these will not help you to upload a file to the document library. So what we are going to do is the attachment control, which is available to add an attachment to a SharePoint list item, will be pulling out that control from the form and will be using it to upload a document to the SharePoint document library. So at a high level, what we are going to do is, uh, again, we will cover this in detail. We will be using attachment control, which is again hidden. You don't find it in the menu to add. We'll be getting it from the forms control. We'll be extracting the content of the file as a base 64 format. We'll be sending this content to a flow, and in the flow we'll be converting the base 64 into a binary format, because SharePoint doesn't support uploading base 64 content. You need to convert it into binary, and then you can create a file in SharePoint. So let's see how we are going to do this. So let me just here let's say, and we are trying to upload a file inside this particular folder. So if I click on plus, this is just a pop-up I have added here, and if I click on yes, it will navigate to the another screen wherein you can see all this. Now let me see. So this is an attachment control, which you will not find here. You will not find it in the toolbox. What you have is the add image control here, add picture only. So let's see how we can get this and what is the problem with the add image control. So we'll see all these things. Okay, so first let's see what is the problem with the add picture control. Why can't we use this? So if I add this here, and let me just select it here, let me run this. You click on it. So the first problem is you can see whenever you click on it, you will be able to upload images file only. You won't be able to upload a document file or presentation or Excel, any other file than images. What user need to do is user need to select the all files type here. So this is an additional step for the end user, which end user might not like. They might miss it. They might say, okay, I'm not able to find my document files. I'm not able to upload that. So this is an additional step which we can't expect that the end user will do or follow properly. So this is the problem with the image control. Otherwise, again, you can still use this. Only the thing is user need to select as all the change the type to all files and then you can upload it. So if you do that and the file is uploaded, only thing is now we need to extract the content out of it. So we'll see that how we are going to do it. But this is the reason why I avoid using add image or add picture control, because end user need to do an additional step there. And also another thing is uh, you need to do more actions if user need to upload multiple files. Okay, so let me just delete this and let me first show you. Let me just add a blank screen here. And what we are going to do is we are going to add a form control here. On this screen, I have added form control and we'll just set a data source here. I have a sample list added in the data source. So you need to add a list data source here. What we are trying to do is we are trying to get the attachment control, which is not readily available to insert. But when you set or when you add a form control and set it to any list data source, as you can see in this form, okay, well, this is, I need to set it to new. Okay, now you can see an attachment control is here, wherein you can add as many files as you can want. Of course, there are some limitations with this also, but I think those will keep on changing. Microsoft team is working on improving the file size and number of files what you can add to this control. Now what we are going to do is from this particular form, we have selected this particular control. So what you need to do is just copy it and go to your screen and paste it there. Well, so you have got the control now, and you can delete this dummy screen which you had added. Now there are some errors which we need to fix because this was part of the forms control. So you just need to fix each of the error. So border colors, you can say, let's say, just set it to black. There are some properties, parent dot, you don't need anything here. Display name, that's fine, we don't need anything here. Again, this is okay, let's set it to display mode.edit because we need to upload a file. Well, your control is ready now. You can use this to attach the files. Now you can configure here the size of each attachment on the right side and how many attachments you can add. Well, now this is no longer we will be treated as attachment because we are going to upload a file to the library now. We are going to use this control to upload a file. So I have already have this control ready here, which is I have set it to 1 for now, let's say, because I just need to upload upload a file. But in case, as I said earlier, if you need to upload multiple files at the same time, you can do that. You can just change it to whatever you want. Uh, the 10 size is available. You can upload 10 files at the same time. And the file size limit, which is currently 50, I have set it to. You can, I think this is 250 MB is allowed, but as a list item attachment. But if you are treating this separately because we are passing the file content through the flow, so there will be some problems if you try to upload a file of size 250 MB, because we are extracting the content of this file and sending to a flow, and then flow is uploading it. So it might take more time or it might break. So for now I've set it to 50 MB, which is I think an ideal scenario for most of the organization. Yeah, so we have this attachment control ready now, so that user can upload a file. You can change the text here, the upload file. Earlier it was add attachment. You can change all these properties. You can see it here. Upload file, there is nothing attached. You can set all these values from here, from the property. Now the main thing is what we need to do is when user upload a file. Now you can see here in this control there is no limitation, or you can say a filter as a attach add a picture control. So user can add or upload file of any type. So if you just try here, the next step is how to get the content of this file and send it to the flow, so that flow can upload it to the selected document library. Now we need to upload it to this particular folder. So well, we see it in step by step. Now there are some functions available using which you can extract the content of it from this particular file. So on this button click, I have written that I'll just extract it out of it to show you how it works. So if I just add another button here just to show, and I'll just add a label here, and I'll set it to scroll. On this button click, we'll just add 2 lines of code, which is we are using JSON function, and this is just a simple string operation. I'll tell you about it, and we'll discuss about the JSON function also. So the only function available in the Power Apps currently is JSON function, using which you can extract or you can get the string formatted content of your file. So if I just show you, if I just click on it, and well, I have to set this particular variable to this label here. You can see here the content, which is a base 64. This is not binary, this is a base 64 format. This is a content of your file. That's what we need to send to the flow. Now here what we are doing here first is we are using JSON function. And if you see here, this is a image control. Now why we are using image control, why we are not directly using the attachment control here to get the content of it, is the problem is, if I show you the details article about the JSON function, is it supports for images and media files, where it will be able to extract here it is include binary data and ignore binary data. So it is supported for images and media files, which is video, audio, clips. For these type of files, it converts the content of the file into base 64. Okay, but if you try to use directly attachment controls, that first file or last file, it won't work. That's why what we have done, we have added an temporary image control here. If you see currently it is, I've just set it to visible false. This is a control here. And to this image control, what we are doing, we have set is the attachment value. So if I just set it again here, attachment control dot attachments, we need the last one because it is multi-select control. We need last one, so we will use last function here. And in this last function, we have passed this attachment control dot attachments. What we need is the value of that particular attachment or file which we uploaded. So what does this value gives is, you can see here it is again for the image, it will just give you the blob URL. Of course, that is not enough for us. That's why we are using. So we have set it to this particular image, which is the last attachment or file which you uploaded and its value to the image control. And on the button click, what we are doing in the JSON function, we are passing that particular image control, which is a temporary image control, and the image. So we'll be passing this, and the only another parameter what you need to pass is the format. Well, this is not really, this is like include binary data or ignore binary data. You can use both of this. It's not really, it doesn't make any difference, but you have to use one of it. Either include binary data or ignore binary data. That's why these two values are supported for the image and media files. So let's say if we use this include binary data, this function will give you the base64 content of your file which you uploaded. So if I use this variable and directly set it to the text, you see the difference at the beginning. Here you will see that it is specifying the format of the content, which is base64. Now we don't need all this at the beginning, the double quotes, this particular text, and the type of the format. We don't need this. Our file, actual file content starts from here. So that's why we have added some string operations to get rid of this part. We don't need this, and we just need this part, which is starting from this specific comma. So that's why we have added a simple function here. We are using mid function. We are finding a comma here, and I'll put this in the chat, or you can take a screenshot of this if you want. What we are trying to do is just get rid of the first few characters from this particular string and get the required file content, which will be passing to the flow. Well, now let me just delete this label, delete this button control. Now we have a base64 content of the file which you have uploaded. Now next step is you need to upload, or you need to send it to the flow, because in the Power Apps, of course, you don't have any direct function again, or you can't use any direct connector to upload a file to the library. The only option available is making use of flow. So what we are doing is we are calling a flow here, we are running the flow here, and we are passing the collection which we have created here using all this, the base64 content what we have generated. We are storing into a local collection, because you can use collection if you need to upload multiple files. So generally I use collection, doesn't matter if it is single file or multiple, because in future the requirement might change wherein they say, okay, we need to upload multiple files. So I've used the collection here, or you can just send the attachment name and the base64 as two separate parameters to your flow, and you can upload single file also. Now let me show you the flow first, and then we will see how these functions are used. So if I navigate to the flow portal, you can see that this is the specific flow which we're using. Let me just edit it. Well, in the flow, this is really straightforward. Again, we are using a create file action which is available in the SharePoint. So if I just show you create file in the SharePoint, what it needs is the site address, the folder path, the file name. File name you can get it from your Power Apps, and the file content. So these two parameters will be getting it from the Power Apps. So for that, what you can do is just click on ask in Power Apps. So it will create a dynamic variable while you are running the flow from the Power Apps. You can use this ask in Power Apps property here in the expression. So for this particular function, we need these two properties. So what we have done here, let me just delete it. We have created a file content variable here wherein we are getting the file content value. This is okay. I think I'm using, I'm showing another flow which is used to upload an individual file. The flow which is connected currently to our demo app is this one, which is upload documents to the SP library. Again, this is same in the apply to it. You have just create file action. On the top, we have a string variable, which is attachment string, and you're getting this from from the Power Apps. You just click on this and it will generate this. What we're doing here is, now what we are will be sending from the Power Apps is a collection. So in the flow, you need to convert that string into a JSON formatted value. So we have used a JSON function here. You can use this JSON function here and you can pass a string to it, which will convert your string into a JSON value, so that you can use a parse JSON function, and you can use what we are passing is just sorry if I'm going in hurry. We need to cover another part in this session. What we are doing is we are just getting data stream and title, which is a title of our attachment and the string. So you need to pass this schema for the path JSON function, and for the path JSON function we are using output of the previous action, which is JSON attachment string. So what we are doing, you are getting a string from the Power Apps, you are using JSON function here, you are using path JSON action. Now what you have here is a collection of your files. Doesn't matter if it is single file or multiple files, with the title and the file content. Now that's why we have used apply to each loop here, wherein we will be iterating through all the files and we'll be creating each of them. Before that, we had another thing, which is we needed to upload a file to a selected folder. So if you see here, it's not just uploading to a library, we are uploading it to a specific folder. So you will be passing this path also where do you want to upload it. So I'm getting that again from the Power Apps, which is stored in this particular variable, and I'm just doing another operation just to remove the last the backslash. Now in this action, which is create file action, for the folder path, we are using the value which we are getting from the Power Apps, because then this will upload file to the selected folder. It will not upload to the root folder, it will upload to the selected folder which is selected from the Power Apps. And the next parameter is title and data string. So these you will get it from the parse JSON output. Okay. Yes, so this is the flow which we have used to upload a file to the library, and we'll be calling this flow from the Power Apps. So if I come back to the app again, and if I just try to add another button here just to show how you can do it. In the button, you go to action, you go to Power Automate, and you should find all the flows which you have created, and you can select the one. So this is the one which we have created to upload the files. Once you select that, the instance of this flow or reference of this flow will get added in this app. and you will be able to run it. So this is already added in my case, and this is the flow name, and you have a run function here which you can call. So let me just do this here, remove it, dot run. Okay, and to this function, whatever properties you have asked in the flow, now here in our case we have just asked for the attachments data value and the folder path. You can see only two parameters. So the first parameter we are passing is the collection, which is collection of multiple files with their name and the content. And the second parameter is the current selected folder, which is a path where you need to upload it. Now here again we have used a JSON function to send the collection. We have used this collect function here to collect all the files which we have uploaded to this attachment control with their name and the base 64 value which we have generated here. Well, once you call this flow, the file will get uploaded to the library. Let me just quickly show you that. Let me just remove this. And if we are on L1 folder 1 here, as you can see here, there's no file directly available here. And let's go ahead and upload this file. Which is stage dog 002. We are trying to upload it to L1 folder 1. I'll just click on upload. And that's done. So it was very quick actually. Let me just close the preview and come here, and you can see it's already here. So we are able to upload a file to the selected folder in the SharePoint document library from the PowerApps. Okay. Now, in addition to this, you have just uploaded a file. Let's say you need to set the metadata also. What you need to do is just add another action, update properties of the file, update file properties, and you will be able to do that. And all that metadata you can again get it from the PowerApps. So let's say you have provided here, let's say if I click here, and you can provide all your controls here, text, date control, all the metadata what you need. You can get it from the user, you can send it to the flow, and you can set it here in the flow using upload file properties. So at the one shot, you are uploading a file as well as you are setting the metadata. Now this was for the single file upload. You can just change the configuration and allow user to upload multiple files. So user can upload 4 or 5 files at the same time, set the metadata, save metadata, and upload it. So this will work for the single file as well as multiple files. Well, let's quickly check the last section of this. That's what about the upload file to the selected folder. Let me just switch again to the presentation. We have seen all this attachment controls, collect, button select, we have called the flow. Well, this is we'll quickly go through this, how you can view the versions of the document in the Power Apps. Well, how you can do that is we'll be using the REST APIs again. We'll be using another flow to get the output of the REST API. So here we're using web list, get by title, items, and versions. So this REST endpoint will be calling in the flow. So in the flow, you have send an HTTP request SharePoint action. Through that action will be calling a REST API, and the output will be returning back to the Power App. So what we're doing from the Power Apps, we are calling a flow. The flow is calling a REST, making a REST API call to the SharePoint and back to the Power Apps. Let's see quickly see. So this is an endpoint just to show you. This is my site and API list, get by title, documents. This is my library name, items. We are getting versions of the selected file, which is an item ID and version. So you'll get all the versions information. Now, while sending the response back to the Power Apps, we'll just send the required one. Let's say I just need the name, time, and version ID. That's it. You can send back only that information. We'll see how we are doing that. First of all, let me just quickly show you. If I just go back here, and this is the document file, and you can see there are some 3 versions right now with the version numbers, who modified it at what time. Now, how we are getting this information here in the PowerApps? So the thing is, again, this is a pop-up. In the pop-up, I have a gallery, and in the gallery, I have a data source attached. Now, this is a local collection. We'll see how we are getting value to this collection. Again, we are calling. So if I just close this and on click of this button, this particular icon where we are seeing the versions, we are calling a flow here. So if you see get documents versions flow run function, what we are passing is just the ID of the selected file. So that's what we need. We just need the ID because we already know the site URL, we already know the library, we just need the item ID. Okay, so we are passing the item ID and we're getting the output and directly into a local collection here. Whatever the output we're getting from the flow, we are storing it in a local collection, and we have bound this local collection to the gallery here. So click here. This is a gallery control, and to this control we have bound this. If I just show you specific item here, you can see this. If I go to the text value, this item dot the version label, so you'll be able to get all the properties of the versions. Now let me just quickly show you the flow which was used to get the versions. Get document versions flow. This is again just two steps. Your trigger will be PowerApps because we will be running it from the PowerApps. We are just using send an HTTP request SharePoint action. You'll be able to find it under SharePoint section. Send an HTTP request. What you need inside this is the site URL, the method, get post. You can perform a lot of actions. Whatever actions you can perform through REST APIs, you will be able to do it through Flow using this action. Like permission management, it is directly not available in the Power Automate. There are some limitations. There are some actions available, but you can still do a lot using REST API calls. So you have all these methods available. URI you need to generate, which is API web list get by title. And here you can see we are getting an input from the Power Apps, which is an item ID. So inside this item ID, we have again, just as I said, you can just click on ask in Power Apps and it will generate an parameter. So this is our endpoint, and you'll get an output of this, which we are using to respond back. Now this response action, just to quickly tell, let me just response. This is a premium action. So you need a separate licensing for that. It is not covered under E3, E5, any Office 365 license. So you need a premium license, separate license to be purchased. But there are alternatives. What you can do is just convert all the output of this into a string, which is, let's say, comma, semi-comma separated or pipe separated, and you can send back a string to the Power Apps, and in the Power Apps you can split all your data and create your collection array. So that is without using premium action. So for now, I've used and response action here, and let me just show you the instance which is already run here. How you see it is you will get the output like this from the send HTTP request. What you see here, all these things, the REST output, you will be able to see it here. So what you need to do is just copy it. Let's say I have already put it somewhere in the notepad, just put it there. You will see it like this. Out of this, you don't need all of this. So whatever you need, just copy that particular part. Let's say I just need created version label and all that. Just copy that part and use as a sample for the response action. So if I just add a response action here, you need to provide a generate from sample. So you need to put that here, and the schema will be generated for the JSON what you are sending back to your Power Apps. So in our case, what I've used here is, you can see here I've used the created is current version ID, and so few properties I have used here, all of these properties, which we are sending back to the Power Apps. So all this collection will be sent back to the Power Apps. And here again, another tip, uh, from the output, what you see in the expressions window is just the body, but the body will not help. We need d dot results, so you need to generate it manually. So for example, how you can write the expression is, so if I close this and you just have this body right now, which is not the results what you need to do is just inspect it, just copy this title, go to expressions, put it here, add square bracket d square bracket results, and just close it and click on OK. So you'll see now the expression is body d dot results. So that's how you need to get the, the content, whatever entity what you need to read, you need to write it into the expression. Well, that's the flow we have built to get the versions, and that's the flow which we are calling on each click of these icons for each of the files. So if I change it, so you'll see for this PDF file I just have one version. So on this button click or icon click, we just have flow.run, and as I said, we are just sending an item ID, correct current.item ID, and we're getting into the collection. This collection, you can see the output of it here. We have got author, created by, everything you can get, all the versions. Now another is, you might say, how can we directly open the specific version file? So if I just click on this was the first version. So if I click on this, you can see it will directly open that specific version, not the current versions. I'll just quickly show you. So this is what you see, just a test document 001. Okay, and I'll just close this and I'll just open the second version now. And open it. Now this is, you can see this was the updated text. So this is the second version. So you'll be able to generate that also. How we have done here is, on click of this, we have launched, we have used launch function. We have used launch function to open the URL, and you need to use this specific managed path, which is underscore VTA underscore history, and provide the version ID, whatever version ID is currently, and the folder path and the leaf, like let's say the document name. Again, you can take a screenshot of this, or again, anyways, we are recording this video, it will be available later on also to watch. So this is how you can open the file, also the specific version. So I think we have covered all the areas. Sorry for taking all the time, and we don't have much time left for the question and answers. We still have 2 minutes left. Of course, that is not enough. Yeah, we won't be able to cover up these things, but
So Sarvesh,
yes,
maybe you could share the deck later on and we'll upload it so that people can download and at least take a look at these pointers.
sure, sure,
Also,
sure.
there are a bunch of questions. Again, I'm guessing that we won't be able to cover them just yet. So please feel free to be on the chat, and if you can answer those, that will be really great and helpful. And
Sure, sure, sure. I'll be
I'd also
available.
recommend you share your social media links on the chat so people can reach you out if they have any questions.
Okay, okay, definitely I'll do that.
Great. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
I think there are plenty
Okay,
questions on
okay,
the
no
chat
problem.
over here.
Okay, no problem. Okay, fine, fine. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for attending the session.
And moving forward, we have our next session by Shanmuga. So Shanmuga, are you there on the chat or on the line? And am I pronouncing your name right? Okay, let's just give a minute to Shanmuga if he can join us. All right. I think Shanmuga is facing some connectivity issue. I'm just checking on with him. Please hang on for a moment again.
Hello there, everybody. So thank you for joining today. So unfortunately, Sean Muga is not with us today. So we hope he's okay. What I advise is, I know it's very early for everyone, and we're at the beginning of today. So I'd like you all to use this time to post your questions and answers in the chat QA, and we will resume on the next hour. So that's what we'll do. We'll resume in the next hour. Yash, thank you again for hosting this today. And what we are going to do is we're going to resume at the next session, which is in 50 minutes. So what I'd like everyone to do is, if you've got any questions and answers, please feel free to post them in the chat or raise your hand, and more than happy to answer your questions. So everyone is being made presenter. So, okay, no questions, right. We have some questions in the chat.